You know, I just really don't understand why this guy keeps getting pass after pass after pass after pass by the fan base and by baseball fans in general. I mean, there is literally nothing good about him. Good Friday morning to everybody here. This is Mac, and I am back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the box below. This is going to be one of, if not my last Pirate video for quite a while before I completely bludgeon you with Steeler content for the next 4 or 5 months or so, with some Penguins and Chicago Bulls content sprinkled in the mix. You know, it's hard to cover 3 sports at once, let alone 2. I mean, 2's hard enough, but 3. I'm going to have to budget my content with that, but it's going to be mostly Steeler content. You can bank on that. But anyway, I just don't get it, man. And no, I'm not impressed with this sweep of the Kansas City Royals, okay? What this sweep was, it was the equivalent of, like, the kid that everyone bullies in school beating up on the other kid that everybody beats up in school. All right? That's what it is. They're two awful franchises playing each other, 2 awful teams playing each other, and pretty much the only difference is that one stinks less than the other, okay? But that's not saying much. Both teams are god-awful, all right? I'm not impressed with this sweep of the Kansas City Royals. I mean, the Royals were 41-91 entering the series. You better be able to beat them. Then again, this is the same team that dropped a series to the Oakland A's a couple months ago. So if you think that makes up for anything, guess what? It doesn't. You're 61-73 on the season. Guys, we've played 134 games, and we got 28 games to go. When's it not going to be early? When's it not going to be late? Okay? We are now in September. And who would ever think that I'd be sitting here saying that this upcoming series that we have with the St. Louis Cardinals is going to determine who finishes last in this division pretty much? I'm telling you right now, Pittsburgh Pirates, you better not drop this series in St. Louis. You better not. Because if you drop this series in St. Louis, you are 100% finishing last in this division. You win this series, you might not finish last. Okay? That's up to you. We are now in September, and you're 12 games under 500. You got 28 games to go. And even if we do have another 20-8 run in these final 28 games like we had at the beginning of the season, do you realize that even that's not good enough? Because even if we do go 20-8 in these final 28 games of the season, we finish 500. Okay? But I doubt that's going to happen. What are the odds of that? Who's the easiest team that we play to finish up the year? You still got to play every NL Central team at least one more series. And forget about it, man. I can already tell you, you're taking at least 5 L's because you got to play the Brewers and Cubs. Do you realize the Pirates are 4-16 this season against the Brewers and the Cubs? So forget about those 2. You could probably even forget about the Reds. Okay? You still got to play Atlanta for another series. You still got to play Miami for another series. You still got to play Philly for another series. I believe the only AL team that we have yet to play are the Yankees. And even though this is by far the worst Yankee team I've ever seen in my life, bar none, guess what? All the Yankees can do this year is beat up on bad teams. And I literally see no difference between us and the bad teams the Yankees have been beaten up on. I literally have little to no confidence that this team can win another series for the rest of the season. We have that capability, considering that we have been god-awful since May. Okay? That's why I'm not impressed with this series sweep of the Royals. And I'll tell you something else. Let me get to the main point of this video. Enough rambling. Locked On Pirates, a YouTube channel that I follow. They're usually very knowledgeable. They usually give very good takes about the Pirates. But the video that they put out the other day, guess what, guys? You can take a big, fat L for your take on that. Because this rebuild is not over. Yeah, you can refurbish the farm all you want. You can bring in all the rentals you want. And you can get all the prospects and build up on this core all you want. Because that's what a rebuild is. You built up your core. You have your Leover Pigueros. You have your Henry Davises. You have your Nick Gonzalez's. You have your Andy Rodriguez's. You have your Mitch Kellers. Your O'Neill Cruz. Who, by the way, Derek Shelton is going to ruin this guy. And he's the jersey that I'm wearing in this video right here, okay? Shelton's going to ruin O'Neill Cruz. Why? Well, is it Derek Shelton's fault that O'Neill Cruz plateaued in his recovery and that his progress was going to stay the same because of the soreness in his foot when he was supposed to be running to begin his progression and come back in August? That's not Shelton's fault, okay? There's big misconceptions from when you first get a diagnosis by a doctor for an injury or an illness that you have. That's not Shelton's fault, and that's not the front office's fault for why O'Neill Cruz didn't come back in August. And it just stands to reason. Shut him down for the rest of the season. It literally makes no sense to bring him back up to Bradenton, have him run a couple miles, and then say, yeah, we'll plug in for the final week or so for the season when we're way under 500 and there's not a snowball's chance in hell that we're going to make the playoffs. That literally makes no sense. Shut him down for the rest of the season, have him get healthy, and bring him back in 2024. Okay? That's all you can do at this point with him. But it just stands to reason. You have O'Neill Cruz. You have Mitch Keller, who had the best season of his career. Down in the farm, you got Paul Skeens with your first overall pick. You have them guys. Brian Reynolds is extended as well. Who, by the way, has had a disappointing season this year. I'm just going to say it because no one else will. Brian Reynolds had a disappointing season this year. The point is, you built up your core. You built everything that you needed to build up with the trades, selling at the deadline, the drafting. And you did what any other small market team should be doing. Okay? Not going over, not, overpaying people, not spending an exuberant amount of money or putting all your chips in one basket. You did it, okay? The point is, while the team itself has a foundation and the team itself does have talent, guess what, guys? Allow me to piss on your parade. This team will not be a legitimate threat, much less a World Series contender, as long as Derek Shelton is here. That's right, I'm saying it. This rebuild is not over until Derek Shelton is gone. Because he was the first person to be brought in when Ben Cherington was brought in as GM when he replaced Neil Huntington in 2019, when this rebuild began. And now, at the beginning of the season, you pretty much just ensured that he's going to be the manager moving forward. But guess what? This has to be a one and done for Shelton. He does not deserve another year, let alone 3. And I've been screaming this for the past 2 years. 2 freaking years I've been saying this. Shelton is not the manager of this franchise. Shelton cannot manage at a major league level. We just can't. And Locked On Pirates, the fact that you even had the audacity to say, to even put Pirates and World Series in the same sentence, what are you thinking, man? I mean, come on. You had the audacity to even say, to put those 2 words together in the same sentence. The only way that can make any sense at all, by putting Pirates and World Series in the same sentence, the only way that you can make any sense of that at all is if you're saying the Pirates will never win a World Series with Derek Shelton, which is the case, by the way. This buffoon cannot manage at a major league level. And the only thing that Locked On Pirates said right in their video was that the Pirates typically fall on their faces when they're building up on their core. Damn right we keep falling on our faces with that, whether it's the Dave Littlefield days, whether it's Neil Huntington failing to build on a team that won 98 games in 2015, whether it's players imitating the Hindenburg, whatever you want to name it. The collapse of the late 90s when we had the core built up, when Barry Bonds and Doug Drabeck were opted for free agency all the way back 30 years ago in 93. Any way you look at it, the Pirates have fallen flat on their faces when it comes to building on a core. And this time, it's for a different reason. It's because we have a complete and utter stooge of a manager. And if you think, and look, I don't like Andy Haynes either, okay? I think he's a trash hitting coach. But let me tell you guys, if you think getting rid of Andy Haynes is going to solve this team's problems, I got news for you. That is not going to make this team instantly better. He is just the first domino to fall, and he is the first aspect for this rebuild to fully end. Derek Shelton needs to be gone in order for this rebuild to finally end. Oh, but who would you have to replace Derek Shelton with? You know who I want managing this team? I want a baseball guy who can work with a core that is established to manage this baseball team. And there's only one guy that I have in mind right now. A.J. Hinch. Oh, but he cheated with the Houston Astros. Who gives a flying fuck if he needed to cheat or not? The fact is, A.J. Hinch is a smart manager. He's a baseball guy. He knows how to work a bullpen. He knows how to put together a lineup, and he does not candy coat anything. He was the main culprit for why the Astros became what they've become today. And whether or not he leaves Detroit is up to him or the Tigers front office, in the grand scheme of things. But I want A.J. Hinch over in Pittsburgh managing this baseball team because I feel like it really can be, kind of like how Houston finished up their rebuild. That's who I want managing this team. And it doesn't make any sense at the same time with Derek Shelton still being here because you bring in rentals like Carlos Santana and Rich Hill and Vince Velasquez and G-Man Choi. You bring in all them rentals at the beginning of the season. Andrew McCutchen, who's still here, by the way. Not that I have a problem with it, but it's just the writing on the wall that Kutch is going to retire a Pirate, in my opinion, by 2025. But the point is, you bring in all them rentals and you get rid of all them rentals at the deadline like you're supposed to because you were forced into that situation because you collapsed harder than Rana Planza after a 20-8 start to the season. So you get rid of all them rentals, but the biggest rental that you still haven't gotten rid of is Derek Shelton. He's the biggest rental. And like I said, this rebuild is not over until he is gone. This dude should have been fired at the end of last season. You do not have back-to-back 100-loss seasons on accident. That is a plain indicator of bad management, bad judgment, piss-poor managing of the bullpen, and not being able to put together a lineup. And being too soft on the players as well. That is how you lose 100 games in back-to-back seasons. Yeah, it doesn't help that we didn't have an established core either, but you need to be a smart manager at the same time and have a good you-know-what in between your you-know-where at the same time as well. Take Tuesday night's game, for example, against the Royals, okay? Oh, but we won the game. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying at least we won the game, okay? Take Tuesday night's game. This team was getting no hit deep into the game against Kansas City Tuesday night. And the only reason we won is because of 2 fluke innings late in the game, and it's because the Royals are, well, the Royals, and that's just what bad teams do. Bad teams find ways to lose games. Bad teams blow games. Bad teams blow great starts that they have in the season, or in a game much less. That's just what bad teams do. They find ways to lose. That was not a product of the battling Bucks or coming back or doing or showing promise or the bats waking up. That was not the product at all. That was the product of the Kansas City Royals snatching defeat from the jaws of victory once again, which is why they are over 50 games under 500 and they're the second worst team in the league behind the A's. Okay? Get out of here with that garbage sweep of the Royals. I am not impressed with it. Because, let me tell you, put the Pirates up against any other solid team in the league, like Atlanta, like Tampa Bay, Baltimore, let's see, the Dodgers, Milwaukee, Chicago, I'll even throw in there. The point is, you put the Pirates against any other good team in that situation Tuesday night, bare minimum, the opponent shuts us out. They would not blow that game. But because the Royals suck and because they are the second worst team in the league, they blew it. Okay? That's Derek Shelton right there. And I know, Shelton can't go to the plate and swing the bat. Shelton can't go out there and throw fastballs right down the middle of the plate, okay? Shelton don't do that. What Shelton is responsible for is the piss-poor lineups that he puts together and swapping everyone every single time. When I went to the game last Sunday against the Cubs, first of all, you want to know how irrelevant the Pirates have become? Or how irrelevant we've been for the last 30 years? That stadium, PNC Park, was full of Cubs fans. Okay? I saw it from the Roberto Clemente wall where I was sitting. There were tons of Cubs fans there. And every single time I tried to talk to one of them, the only thing that they had to say was, PNC Park is such a beautiful park. I really enjoy it here. That's the point. Opponents see us on the schedule. They don't think to themselves, oh, the Pirates are going to be a tough team. These are going to be a tough 3 or 4 games that we're going to play. They look and laugh at us and say, well, at least they have a nice ballpark. PNC Park is just a tourist attraction. They don't come to PNC Park because they want to see their team play the Pirates. They go to PNC Park because it's one of the best if not the best ballpark in the MLB, and it's a bucket lister of theirs, and they want to go there. That's the only reason the Pirates get any sort of attention at all, is because of the ballpark that they play in that is nothing more than a giant tourist attraction in Pittsburgh. Okay? We would have easily lost Tuesday night's game if we were playing a real opponent. And that's why Shelton cannot be the manager. Sunday afternoon, you didn't even mention McCutchen on Sunday afternoon's game. The Pirates only came away with 3 hits Sunday. 3. And they got a very soft run on top of that as well. This should have been 10-0. Instead, it was 10-1. The only reason they scored was because of an RBI ground out. An incredibly soft run. They didn't actually hit the ball in the outfield to score a run. Meanwhile, the Cubs did that hog wild against us. You want to know why? Because the Cubs are a decent team. They're not a great team. They're not a good team. They're decent. They're trending upwards. Okay? You didn't even mention McCutchen Sunday afternoon because he didn't even get the start. He was supposed to probably be DHing. Why? Oh, that's right. Brian Reynolds was DHing. You are not paying this guy $106 million over 8 years for him to be a DH. You put him in center field or right field. And I get that Henry Davis can't be in the outfield right now because he's injured, and much less put him behind home plate because he's injured, which I understand. If it really is his thumb problem is the reason that's been bothering him to put him behind home plate and he can't catch, I can accept that. But put him in right field where he flourishes. You don't put Connor Joe in the outfield. You don't platoon Jack Sawinski in left and right. Jack Sawinski should be your right fielder. Jason DeLay was catching Sunday afternoon. What about Endy Rodriguez? What the hell is the point of calling him up if you're not going to put him at catcher? Why not put Connor Joe at first base? I like Alfonso Rivas so far, but he should not be your everyday first baseman. I mean, I am just completely dumbfounded by the management. You can have all the tools possible. You can have all the talent possible. Guess what? It don't mean shit if you don't have a smart manager. And we do not have a smart manager one iota. And that's why this rebuild is not over until Derek Shelton is gone. Like I said, should have been fired after last season. But nope, he's still here because God knows why. And trust me, I'm being dead serious. If I really thought Derek Shelton could help this team, and I thought that he was a decent manager, I'd be like, yeah, give him another year. So let's think about the logic here for a second, okay? Let's just think this through for a second, okay? If I thought Derek Shelton was a good manager, would I be sitting down here for the millionth time ranting about him? Wake up! Good God, I can't stand it when people give this guy a pass. And it happens way too often. He sucks. He's worthless. There's a reason that he had zero managerial experience before 2020. And yet we continue to give him chance after chance after chance. I stopped giving him chances a long time ago. And it's only going to continue as long as he's here because he is going to ruin this rebuild. And if he ruins O'Neal Cruz, who's my favorite player on the team right now, if he ruins O'Neal Cruz, oh boy, you better look out. You thought I was tough and harsh in this video? Just watch him ruin O'Neal Cruz. I won't be so nice the next time. Anyway, 23 minutes in. Wow, I can't believe it's already been that long. That's way too long. Let me know what yins think down in the comments below. Mac, checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.